Hello and welcome to episode 13 of the third season of Les Oderants. I am Dan and I am joined as always by Ben, Fliss and the ultimate panty dropper James. Say hello everyone.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Right, I actually am really keen just to get to the second half of this episode. Not just because, you know, on the other side, the second episode, I get to go to bed, and bed's like my favourite place in the world. But because I'm genuinely really fucking looking forward to this one. I look forward to all of them. But any opportunity to stick the boot into Luca Turin. Somebody grumpy. Yeah. Any opportunity I get to be more grumpy than Luca Turin is a good thing and should be seized upon with gusto. Exciting and interesting perfume news. I've got moderately little to report this week. I did get a bottle of Perseus by which is the new Parfum de Marly release. And ordinarily, Parfum de Marly are one of those houses that sort of, I don't know.
They're not your favourite, are they, Dan?
Well, there's not much there. I mean, they always strike me as a bit vacuous, a bit sort of, is vapid the right word? I don't know. But kind of hollow, really. And I guess you could argue that the release Perseus is also of that same sort of non-thinking vein. It's a derivative of Terre d'Hermès, although I guess anything that pairs a sort of sharp citrus with a vetiver probably could be described as a sort of derivative of Terre d'Hermès. But it is really, really nice. I really enjoyed it. It's very fresh, and it manages to do what I think various other perfumes. So lots of perfumes have attempted to be TDH, but like with really good performance and such. There's like one by Johnny Montal called Red Vetiver. There's a Sospiro one, I think, called Adnante or Andante or some fucking stupid shit like that. And indeed, there's the Roger Oligarch, and all of them sort of manage to smell pleasant enough, but none of them really achieve what they set out to do. This, I think, does. It smells fresh. It smells pretty natural. And I don't, I guess I explain it, even though it doesn't require explanation. I don't mean that it has lots of naturals in it. It just smells like something natural. It smells kind of fresh and fruity and believable. And it lasts really well and is just really enjoyable throughout. So that was something of a surprise. And then the other thing, in fact, no, there's two other things, although I think everyone will have an opinion on the second of my two other things. The first one is Nanban by Arquiste. And I don't know, James, I feel sure you've tried Nanban by Arquiste.
I think I have. I don't have a recollection of it, but I've tried quite a lot of those.
Okay, well, I've not tried any others by Arquiste, but Nanban is just fucking brilliant. And it's the only perfume I've ever heard of that has both a tea and a coffee note in it. It's like trying to fuck with my head or something. Tea or coffee? Fuck it, both. And it's it's got this kind of smoothed out tea that sort of makes everything feel like lovely and chill, and it's got this kind of quite buzzy coffee sort of vibe to it, and there's leather, and there's fuck knows cardamom, no idea what else, loads of other shit, and it's somehow brilliant. And I posted about it, I don't know, last week sometime, and Amanda Beadle of Bedo expressed some interest in it, and then went to seek it out at a shop, and then dropped me a line, and she said, obviously, that I'm her favourite, and you lot all
that
basically
just
suck.
goes without saying.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll say it anyway. because that's what we do. We take very, very tenuous stuff that's broadly redundant and we just repeat it over and fucking over and over. So we are the Stuart Lee of perfume podcasts, although not as amusing. Anyway, where was I? Anyway, she said that she felt it was similar to Melt My Heart. So there is a sort of chocolatiness to it as well. It is a fucking absolutely superb perfume. And if you haven't tried it or you can't remember, I'm going to send samples to all of you because it's a fucking absolutely grade A stinker. And it's the first thing in quite a while that's just made me all fucking giddy about perfume again. Every so often one of those things comes along and it's like, woo! This is done it for me.
Shall I be contrary and read my review?
Oh, God, you're going to fucking savage it, aren't you, you arsehole? Go on, read your review.
Well, I mean, it just shows you what a little tinker perfume is. Because I think we have very different views, it's all. It doesn't mean one of us is right and one of us is wrong.
Well, it does. It means I'm right and you're wrong. I mean, that's how it
obviously,
works.
I put a fairly nice amber. It's quite honeyed on the initial spray, which makes it a bit cloying for my taste. I can't get away from the slight plasticky vibe, though. The hype is not for me. Edit. Retried it again a few years later, and yeah, there's still a plasticky thing in the dry down. Meh. Edit. I keep getting whiffs and thinking, oh, that's nice, but on closer inspection, it's just a cheap Christmas candle.
Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm not having that shit off you. You can fuck right off.
That's fine.
What a buzzkill you are, honestly.
But I mean, it's just obviously it's me, I think it would be. I would like to smell it again because it's possible that some of these, and I have noticed that there was a slight change. Let me say it. Please let me say this, Dan. No. Please let me say it.
No.
There was a time when I was testing perfume when I was coming out of chemo and I knew that my nose wasn't always right, and it's possible that this was one of them.
I mean, I've smelt it,
Fliss,
so I can sort of like.
Well. Hang on, because I feel like this is going to turn into a fucking pylon if you're not careful, right? But I do want to say to Fliss, the odds of you having done review 1, edit 1, edit 2, and being consistent in all of them, and then suddenly, because I send you a sample going, oh, well, it's completely different now.
I know, it's pretty low, isn't it?
It's zero. I think
are we still talking about the Arc East? Sorry.
Yeah, we are. Sorry.
Oh, we're still talking about that one.
Got stuck on that one. Yeah. Go on, Ben. What did you make of Namba?
I like it. I think it's good. I've smelled quite a few Arquistes, and I like that one. Nanban and Anima Dulcis is another one that I really like. That actually, you should possibly give that a go because they're different, but they're both that sort of like spicy, ambery kind of, like amber heavy kind of perfumes. But I liked it. I thought it was nice. I thought it was fairly inoffensive and just like a good solid amber.
Yeah, it's a fairly nice amber.
Okay, so I'm in love with it. Fliss was like solidly opposed to it, and Ben's like, yeah, it's all right. So
I didn't say it was a scrubber. I just said it was.
I liked it enough, but it was super. It's one of them ones where I've always thought if I can find that on a group second hand, I'll snatch their hand off. But I'm not going to pay like retail for it. But to be fair. I'm a cheap bastard, and I rarely pay for anything retail. I mean, I can probably count on one hand the amount of bottles I pay full retail for.
Okay, James is about to profess.
I'm scouring Fragrantica for reviews because I always go, I can't remember that, and then I look back and find like a review from a few years ago of me
that you wrote.
Love this. I've just put, it's a boring amber. Anyone who likes this is an empty can.
Is that what you wrote? Yeah.
No, of course it isn't. I haven't tried it. I haven't tried it. Basically, and that's quite odd. Maybe there's some of these Arquistes that I haven't tried, and that's one of them.
It could have also been anybody who doesn't like it is a bint with no nose. So you could have cut either way there, really, couldn't it?
Bint, Right, okay. Well, let me... I'll send you a sample, James, because I feel like you definitely need to smell it. But I wanted to move on to one other, which is this thing in me little grubby mitts, which is... I can't remember what it's called. It's Cabochard. What is...
Cabochard by Grey. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Cabochard is What?
The name of the perfume. And grey
is it?
is the house.
Oh, I thought it was the other way round.
No.
Oh, I thought Cabochard was the name of the brand. But there
The
you go.
grey is the house, because they do one called Cabotin, they do Cabochard Chéri, which I'm going to talk about in a bit.
Okay. Well, I have to tell you that this... So James just disappeared there for a minute to get a drink. So I'll catch him up and just say, James, we're talking about the Cabochard. He can't hear me. He's pouring his drink and he's not listening. All right, there we go. Now I shall catch him up. We've moved on to talking about Cabochard, James.
Oh, sorry. Hi. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I think this is a absolute fucking work of genius. What a fucking perfume. And it's like, I can't believe this is still marketed as a women's perfume either. I mean, this is
completely unisex.
This is smack bang.
It's pretty ylang heavy in the opening, which I think you would probably traditionally say is not really a man's thing, which is bollocks anyway.
No,
but,
maybe.
I got a lot of ylang in the opening and thought, that's really pleasant. And that would be the only reason that I would say it was more femme.
Well,
I think the leather in it is great. It's Bernard Chant who did Azure for Estee Lauder as well, and I think you can really tell they are by the same perfumer, because I feel like Cabochard is a lighter, brighter, easier wear to Azure. Azure is like boom.
I don't know that one.
It's a lot.
But
Estee Lauder, that one.
Yeah.
This was a recommendation on the back of our £200 collection fragrance.
Well, just about everybody apart from us had got it in their collections, hadn't they?
And I don't think any of us had anything to say about it at the time.
No.
James,
I think I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't have it, but I was like, I remember trying that and it was amazing. But how many perfumes have you tried that are amazing that you just haven't bought? Which is probably not a very good question to ask you, Dan, because you probably
that's the wrong question to ask me.
And probably Ben. But me, there's a lot of perfumes that I've tried and gone, that's amazing. Maybe I'll get it one day. And then, like, years later, you go, oh no, I still haven't got that. But that one, there was no excuse for not buying it.
It's 18 fucking quid. 18 quid.
And I realised that when we had the discussion about it, so I bought it. And that's how,
exactly.
And there'll probably be loads of those that happen like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the last one that happened to me like that was the I forget what it's called. The one in the ball.
Theophenol?
The Theophenol, the scent, yeah. But this is something else. So just so I'm clear, all four of us have since bought this bloody perfume. That's right. Yeah. I mean, we may get accused of shilling for grey.
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 Well, no, if we're shilling for anyone, it's the Perfume Warehouse and other similar discounters.
Yeah. I'm shilling for eBay here. $17.99 on eBay delivered. What a fucking joke!
And the bottle is gorgeous. It's a really heavy work of art. It's like
amazing.
Whoa.
It's absolutely amazing. I just like, again, it's easy to occasionally get disillusioned with this fucking stupid hobby, and I often kind of look at the cupboard of shame and go, God, you're such a twat, why are you doing this? And then something like this happens and you go, that's why, because little gems just fucking appear and make you happy, and that's fucking great. I really, really enjoyed that perfume. It's such a winner, and for fucking 18 quid, honestly, it's just an utter no-brainer. So well done to everyone who put that in their £200 collections. If I'd have known about it, I would have done too. What a result. Right, that's me blathering on for way longer than strictly necessary. So I'm going to come to Ben. Ben, wake up.
He looks like
now it's your turn to talk.
Okay, I bought Cabochard as well, so I smelt that, loved it, thought it was great. Reminded me a little bit, actually, of Bogue Mai, but not initially, once it gets to sort of, after about hour in, they start, the composition, it's a classical composition, isn't it? But they reminded me a little bit of one another in way. But yeah, cracking, loved it. Did have mixed results with it. Everyone except from me said that smells like an old lady. I just was like, yeah, get away, you cretins.
Yeah.
How dare
Fuck you. Fuck you, lot.
Somebody said to me, I sent a little sample to lovely Jim Seymour, friend of the show, and he said he could really sense the lightness with, is it Aramis? He said he felt it was like there was something in the dry down that really reminded him of Aramis slightly, which I didn't get, but I think there's a lot of, I don't think that smells like old ladies either.
I've only smelled, I think, the tobacco one, the Aramis tobacco one, which is probably nothing.
What, just like regular, like Aramis for men, the original Aramis? I mean, okay.
I don't know.
I suppose it's a leathery sort of perfume, yeah? I mean, yeah, they all have these classic...
I don't think it smells of old ladies.
No.
I think it's that the yellow florals, you know, like they're always got that. I think they have those associations, don't they, to the muggles. They're always going to think like you smell sort of big, thick, heavy yellow florals, and you go, yeah, a bit old ladyish.
Normally, I would agree that big yellow florals is a bit of a warning sign for me, but I don't know. I just don't think it comes off like that. And there's plenty of like very masculine perfumes that are quite ylang heavy. I'm sort of, there's a Balenciaga Hohang Club, it's called, which basically smells a bit like Kouros having a fucking head-on collision with a basket of yellow florals, and it's fucking amazing.
That sounds nice.
Like,
it's a great perfume.
I mean, how good was that Grossmith one? That's quite ylang heavy as well.
Hasu no Hana. Yeah, exactly.
But think about the comparison there. Okay, we're talking about Cabochard, which was 18 quid, and then we're talking about that, which is 300 quid, is it? I don't know.
Something like that, yeah. A lot more.
In the context of things, you could go, okay, fine, that's a posh perfume and that's a kind of budget sort of one. But not that I'm rushing out to buy that Grossmith one, but I'm as happy. It's weird with perfumery, isn't it? How you can be equally as good for me, those two perfumes. But I'm kind of okay with the expensive one as well as the cheap one. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if it's good, it's good, Yeah,
agreed. I'd have both of them in my collection. Yeah. I suddenly have 300 quid now, and someone said you have to buy perfume with it. But yeah, I think Hasino Hana would be quite high on my list.
It's beautiful.
Go on, Ben.
No, just the crazy thing about when you talk about like price and value and things like that, like the bottle of this is amazing. Like, and the fact that it's really like grey cabochard, it's like this kind of like niche design. It's like, you could easily just pop this on a shelf in like a niche perfume store and sell it for like 300 quid, and you could pick this bottle off the shelf and you'd think totally fits in. It's like solid, big, chunky glass.
Absolutely
it's gorgeous.
And it reminds me a little bit of the Jour de Hermès bottles in that shape and the heavy glassness on the bottom. It has that square
big chonk, yeah,
chonk.
I imagine it's actually, how old is it?
54, wasn't it, or something like that?
Okay.
Did I read?
So so clearly the bottle must have been. Oh look, fucking £9.81 on Notino. I think that's the EDT. But anyway, from 1959, and I wonder whether it just hasn't sort of somehow fallen out of fashion, and hence why it's discounted and in the bargain basement. But I totally agree. Everything about this just screams fucking class. The bottle is amazing. The perfume is amazing. The branding is simple. It's elegant. Everything. Just spot on.
It all comes down to marketing then, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you don't see anything by Grey marketed that much, really. So it's about marketing.
That's true. And they're pretty, I'm assuming they're well regarded in France, and that they're obviously still around. I mean, they've probably been bought up by a parent company or something. Just interestingly, talking about Bernard Chant, you numpty shant.
Oh, he's done some bangers. He's done some absolute bangers.
Well, Aramis, the guy's talking about Aramis, he did Aramis.
Yeah.
Did he?
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's an interesting connection. If he's detected that, then, there's probably something in it. He also did Aromatics Elixir for Clinique. And obviously those, the Azuri that Fliss mentioned, and Alliège as well. Do you know that one? Oh, that's a good perfume. Cinnabar as well, Estée. So all the kind of Estée Lauder, the Gris, I'm assuming reformulations, or no, maybe he's just credited with the, obviously he's probably, not being me, he's probably not around now, is he? But
he did Antonia's Flowers as well, which is the East Hampton, the absolutely stonking Spring Freesia, which is discontinued. You can't get hold of it for love nor money.
He did Halston Classic as well, which was a massive perfume. I mean, they made a whole, big deal of it. It was even in that Halston drama series that they made, didn't they? I don't think they said very much about it, but because it was a hugely iconic thing in America. What
was the Halston drama series? What's that?
It starred what's his face from Trainspotting? What's his name? Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ewan McGregor
as Halston. You don't know about this? It was on I
know nothing about it at all.
It was on Prime, maybe, or one of those kind of streaming things, and it was all about Halston, who was a fashion designer in America, I believe, quite an iconic American designer, in the vein of a Ralph Lauren or whatever. And his perfume, that Halston Classic, is a huge, massive 70s thing. It basically was the biggest perfume of that era. A hugely regarded, every woman had it. Do you know what I mean? It was one of those, had an iconic bottle, a bit similar, like a Féminite Dubois type, weird bottle. It's got this kind of slightly, I don't know, it looks like one of those kind of things that you get the sediment out of wine, one of those wine decantery, I don't know, something like that. It's a weird shape. So
the story, I've just looked it up on IMDb. Halston is the story of a man who leverages his single invented name, just fucking invented it, into a worldwide fashion empire that's synonymous with luxury, sex, status, and fame.
There you go.
Nice.
All nice things.
Yeah. I just make
all the nice things. All the nice things.
I wouldn't want to be famous. Fuck all of that. I was having this conversation with my mum. Definitely do not want to be famous. Sex and money. Obviously, there's a weird non sequitur when I'm talking about my mum. Stop me. Just fucking stop me, please.
But you weren't talking to your mum about that. You just said to her you didn't want to be famous.
The other things
you didn't do the other bit.
The other things on Halston's list all sound great. Being famous, no thank you.
You're not on the shrink's chaise longue now.
No, God. Right, that was weird. Okay, Ben, back to you, mate.
Yeah, so otherwise, I bought, this week, I got Legacy of Petra by Penhaligon's, which I got off that ridiculous sale.
Your silly deal.
And it
that you sent me at
up
5 past midnight and said, you can get this until midnight. Yeah, well, that was 5 minutes ago, mate. Yeah, thanks, mate.
Yes. I didn't know if it would turn up because it was that for friends and family code and stuff like that, but it did. And I fucking love it, mate. It's such good perfume. I really don't think Penhaligon's put out that much good stuff. Most of it is pretty much met. And this is an absolute star. I've got so basically it's a fennel heavy licorice kind of perfume, but I've got a few of them. I've got Méchant Loup by L'Artisan Parfumeur and Lolita Lempica Au Extrême as well, which are two other kind of woody, fennel, black licorice kind of heavy things. But both of them suffer, I feel, with the fact that they focus really heavy on that licorice idea and they sort of forgo anything else. And it becomes quite thin in the background quite quickly. Whereas where Petra works is it has that element, but it also has this lovely amber underneath and sort of benzoin kind of amber sort of thing that lasts a lot longer. And it's just fucking great, man. It sweetens up. It helps to sweeten up the licorice side of things, which is nice, which makes it a little bit more gourmand. But also it helps to round it out and make it feel more of a fuller fragrance, which I think is really good. Because like I say, like Méchant Loup and Lolita Lempico, I feel like they both suffer from the fact that they smell very licorice at first, and then once that starts dissipating a little bit, you're not really left with much, and I just feel like it's a little bit. They're both a little bit paper thin, whereas this, it's got a bit more depth to it, a bit more girth, and a bit more meat to the bottom. But the fact that it's also quite gourmandy and sort of sweet is makes it very easy as well. Despite the fact that the fennel sort of licoricey thing is not particularly easy, but I feel like it's sort of smoothed away with the kind of very benzoin-y kind of ambery.
Easy and with a big bottom. That'll do for me.
There you go. All the good things.
It's my search history on Google.
So that came. So I've been wearing that a lot, actually. I've been wearing that more or less every day for about a week. It's great, man. It's really, well, apart from, obviously, everything else I've been wearing we'll be talking about in the second half. So.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I thought it was great, man. I really liked it. I was really happy to got it because it's one of them ones where, like I was just saying earlier, I'm cheap. As soon as I smelt the sample of Petra, I was like, okay, I really like this. But I'm not spending £295 on it. And so getting it for 72 quid, yeah, okay, that's totally fine.
Prices are ridiculous,
they
aren't
are. And the fact that they can do sales like that to knock it down to 72 quid just goes to show you everything, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
So, I was really happy to get it finally because it is really good. I liked it. Don't know what you guys think of it because I think you've all smelt it, haven't you?
I tried it in Bath. And I thought it was okay. It was a bit too heavy on that whole licoricey thing for me. I don't mind a bit of licorice, but I don't want to feel as though I'm being waterboarded by licorice.
It's pretty all on, isn't it? It's
Yeah, I liked it.
So
I remember it. I liked it.
I said that the licorice and the fennel give it a greenness that never really goes away, which is unusual for those notes.
Yeah.
But they're not my favourite. I didn't find it. It wasn't my favourite notes, and I thought it hangs very well with that Cairo and Halfeti line, and there's a similarity to the base in it that it feels like an additional twist to what they're doing with that line.
I really think that line is good, man. For Pen,
but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah. Well, the thing is it like Dan said as well. It's so the licorice is so forefront throughout the wear that if you're not really into that, you're not going to like it. Yeah. I like it specifically because I love that kind of thick licorice. The fact that it's so licoricey is what I like about it. But I mean, just that line in general, the Trade Routes line is really good. Everything I've smelt in it, I've liked. I haven't smelt, to be fair, the Halfeti Cedar, but everything else. It seems like head and shoulders a bunch. Compared to that new line, that potions and what's its jobs, whatever they called it.
Potions and what's its jobs.
Yeah,
I love the way you did a little flip with your arms as well.
Yeah, really well. But I thought the Trade Routes is great, man. And because Cairo's good as well, and Halfeti obviously is really good. There was one that I smelled that I didn't like. There was a white floral rose thing. Can't remember what that one's called, but I didn't like that one. I thought it was great. So I've been wearing that for weeks and loving it. But that's about it. So everything else will be in the second half. Dan,
maximum sweetness.
Did you smell Vetiver Oriental yet?
Yes.
What did you think?
I have it here. We'll talk about it in the second half.
No, it's not for the stars. It's just for your.
Okay.
That's just because I thought I'd send it to you because I thought you might like it.
No, it's very nice. And it's very nice.
We were talking about Serge Lutton before, and you said you hadn't smelt that many, and that is brilliant. I think so. I thought you might.
Well, okay. Sorry, I didn't realise. I thought that was one of the low stars. So, despite what I said about Perseus before, I do find that a lot of very vetiver-centric perfumes end up broadly smelling the same after a while. And it didn't desperately differentiate itself, I didn't think, but it was very nice. I very much enjoyed it. I feel like it would have been probably a redundant one in my collection.
So that was pretty much the first like niche perfume I smelt. It's that like
and you do like a vetiver.
Yeah, and at the time I was like, it blew my fucking mind. I was like, what the hell is this? You know, like because it's such a like compared to like obviously the vetiver, like because I got into it through Terre d'Hermès, and so I was like, vetiver, I must find vetiver fragrances, and then I smelt that, and you compare that to, imagine that after Terre d'Hermès, it's like, what the fuck is this? It's pretty wild, but I thought it was great.
Nice.
But,
cool.
That was not a stars one, but that's me anyway. That's me done.
Lovely. Right, Fliss. Apart from the stars, what's been going on?
I tried, off the back of the Cabochard being such a hit, I tried the Cabochard Cherie, which is a much more feminine take on it. There's like a bunch of pear and freesia in it. There's praline, and the leather is much softer. And I really liked it. In some ways, it reminded me a little bit of some of the more recent fruituli-ish, fruity, leathery, airy Shalimar flankers. And if somebody had given it to me in a Shalimar flanker bottle, I'd have believed them. It felt like, it didn't quite have the Guerlinade at the bottom, but it wasn't far off. That said, I felt it was like really accomplished, but unremarkable. As fruit chulis go, I thought it was very nice, and it wasn't as sweet and yucky as a lot of the really modern fruit chilis. But it just didn't. I couldn't be bothered to buy a bottle. So I was glad I smelt it.
Not a necessary addition.
Not
to
necessarily
your collection.
for my collection, but if you liked some kind of like fruity, freesia-y, slightly leathery, soft leathery things that smell a bit like a Shalimar flanker, then it's going to be your thing. And for 17 quid, you probably will just go, oh, that's good, isn't it? That's very good value. For me, it was just a bit light. It just lacked a bit of oomph. But I can see why that was also on some people's 200 list.
Fair.
I also smelt Les Concentrés. The Chabouf.
Shabu.
Oh.
The milky one.
The milky one.
Oh, milky.
It was so milky.
It's
so milky. It was ridiculous. It is a photorealistic boiling milk for a rice pudding. It's literally, the milk's boiling, you've just put some sugar in, and you've only just put the rice in. That is exactly the smell.
It's like, if you put about a pound of sugar, because you smell it and your teeth rot, right? It's.
Well, I don't know. For me, it wasn't so much the sugar I got; it's just the boiling milk. It was mental, but it's not quite. It's not custardy. There's no eggs in the milk. It's milk, sugar, and rice, and it just didn't give up.
No,
it just goes and goes and goes. There's no dry down. There's no movement. There's nothing happens. You just smell of just underburnt milk all day.
All day. I wore it yesterday, and it was like even about 5 o'clock this morning, because I was up quite late, and I could still smell it, like really strong.
Just bonkers. I spent a lot of the time giggling because it just made me think of you. I think it's something to be experienced. But every time I smelt it again, or I moved, and you catch a whiff of yourself as you move, I just thought, oh God, Ben, you're mad. You little.
I don't know why I didn't send it to Dan, because I assumed that you would just fucking hate it. I should have sent you some anyway.
What is this one? Sorry, say again. What's it called?
Chabot Les Concentrés.
Chabouf.
Yeah, it is bonkers. I love it as a smell, but I'd be hard pressed to say I love it as a perfume. Like I enjoy wearing it, but around myself, like I probably wouldn't wear it out.
And I will probably use up this sample, but I'll use it up maybe on a scarf. I don't want it on my skin all day. Yeah. If you know what I mean. Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. I mean, I still loved it enough to buy a bottle of it, but it's
Mad
just
bastard.
it's just bonkers.
It smells like something that you would pump into, like, I don't know, like a place that sells puddings as a way to get, to get
It smells
more.
like fudge, doesn't it? Like a fudge factory or something
Like,
like that.
but sort of like as a way of getting customers to go, oh, that smells nice. Let me buy something.
Would they
opposed
use
to
it
a
as
perfume.
Dr. Burp's Bubble Works?
I was going to say, like a kid's kind of like play area in like a fast food restaurant or something from the 80s. They'd be pumping that out. Like,
Yeah, that was it. And I'm really pleased. Again, I'm really pleased I smelt it, but it's not for me.
Not for you. Okay. Well, what else have you been smelling?
Oh, nothing that interesting, actually. Should we just do the full 14 and then
I was just going to say, sorry, you sent it to me, and do you know what? I just smelled this package, right? I didn't realise. I did look at them the other day. Oh, thank you, Ben. Right, I'll look at these. And I smelled the package and I was like, it smells like milky coconut, this. I was like, either he's put this in there or all the other samples just smell of that stuff. I can smell it already. I can just smell it already.
That's probably from where I sprayed it on that card about 5 months
6 months ago. Brilliant.
Put it in a time capsule and let's have a little.
Don't put it on your skin,
I'm not,
darling.
You'll never get it off.
It is very sweet in the opening of it is extremely sweet.
So when you say opening, that's it. That's
There was nothing else. It just
Do you know
opens and stays open.
Do you know what? It's pretty nice.
You
like
like it.
It's a sugary bollocks, and I get it. It's sugary, creamy bollocks, but I quite like it, to be honest.
You
Well
like
done, sugary creamy boy. I just wish it
you
went
like
somewhere.
sugary, creamy bollocks, don't you,
Yeah, I
James?
do.
I just wish it went somewhere musky or a little bit of patchouli underneath or just something. Something.
Do
please.
It's
something.
a one-trick pony, isn't it? It is what it is,
something.
and that's it.
Yeah, excellent. Good. Right, James, 14. And I guess your 14's going to have some gaps in if we're going to talk about them in part 2.
Nope, not one gap.
Or did you? You didn't wear none of them.
No. I thought we were just going to like spray them now and sniff them. No, is that not what we're doing?
Oh, right. Okay.
Sorry. Well, no, to be honest, I didn't realise you were sending like Gucci 2. I have got that one as well, so I know that one.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm fairly like familiar with a lot of these, and any of the ones I haven't got, I'll just spray them and I'll do it on the night. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, fucking have it.
No, well,
Right,
because I
lovely.
couldn't wear those,
Okay, well,
because
let's
then
do
it would impact on the 14, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't always do that.
Okay. So it's exactly that reason.
He
that you can
suffered
wear-
for his
Yeah,
art.
you know,
Yes.
I can't deprave the listeners of a 14. Right, here we go. Alain Delon Iquitos was what I wore on the first day.
Wait, see, you mentioned this one to me because we talked about this on WhatsApp, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I said that I thought that was just a great whacking patchouli, and you were like, no patchouli at all. What are you talking about, Dan, you idiot? But I remember it being very patchouli, cabbagey sort of vibe.
Do you know what? If that's what you got from it, then fine, because it's one of those like extremely complex sort of old perfumes that I've no doubt that if the patchouli stood out to you, maybe it would. But I don't think it's.
It has got patchouli.
I'm sure
in
it
according
has.
to the notes,
like most of those old bases on any perfume of any, if it's a good perfume, right, it's probably got vetiver and it's probably got patchouli in the base, right? Whether it's a completely different perfume, as I say, the way they manifest in perfumes is totally different. We're not talking about, like you were talking about vetiver oriental and, you know, different perfumes like that, where they're actually focused on this is a vetiver perfume. All good perfumes have patchouli and vetiver. Whether they're a patchouli focused or a vetiver focused perfume is, I'd probably say it's better if they're not. Do you know what I mean? And you get different facets of those materials because they're useful and they are something that is needed in perfumery. Anyway, as far as this is concerned, I get more of a, I mean, it's a mossy, floral, leathery, spicy, woody,
fruity.
I mean, it's
the kitchen
got
sink.
everything.
Yeah, and maybe you might have not had the best bottle of it. I don't know, but I think the sample that I've got is pretty fucking good. It smells a bit vintage, but
Did the duck send it to you? Because I've got some from Duck.
Did you? Oh, you didn't buy a bottle?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but I bought it.
You did buy a bottle?
Yeah, I bought it from a guy who is in Japan. It's a long, convoluted story, but it's the guy in Japan who I got the Bois Noir off as well, who doesn't come back to Europe until about 3 months' time. So I've bought them. I've just got to wait for him to come back to Europe to bring them.
Wow.
So I've kind of got those in the bank. So I bought an Iquitos just on the strength of spraying it. Now, when I wore it, I didn't actually love it as much as when I just sprayed it on my hand. However, I still loved it, right? So don't get me wrong, it's still brilliant. And yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I actually got really irisy, like heavy, sort of like creamy, irisy sort of vibes on top of all this other stuff. You know, it's a great perfume. I don't know how you could smell that and not go, this is a fantastic perfume. But yeah, and I don't mean to sort of hype a discontinued old thing. It's actually a celebrity fragrance because Alain Delon is a French singer apparently, and actor, is he? I think.
He's an actor, yeah.
So anyway, that is a brilliant fragrance, and apparently it was rejected by Dior as poison, I think. Yeah, that formulation was apparently, Dior were like, no, because it was a bit too much, apparently. But I'm like...
It is a lot. There's a lot in it. It's got a lot going on. I get a lot of the leather and the civet in it. But there's so much. I think I wore it a while ago, a couple of days in a row, and every day I wore it, I got something different.
It's one of those,
it's just
isn't
like,
it?
boom.
Yeah. But fantastic perfume. So then I wore Fragrance du Bois Oud Orange. Yeah, what? Okay, one of their lesser known ones, or do you know it? You both kind of grimaced.
I do know it. It's their sort of gourmandy one, no?
Sort of. I'd say it's... go on. Give me your opinions.
So it's not as bad as Joan, the yellow one.
Just like a car crash.
The orange one... So is it Oud Orange Intense? It's not the Wild Orange, the new one.
Just called Oud Orange. It's an old one. It must be from 17 or whenever I got those original samples from Fragrance du Bois.
So I vaguely recall it as being a gourmand that I didn't like.
Okay.
That's what I can remember.
I think it's not...
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say that Oud Orange is from the prime time when a bunch of FTB stuff got ripped up.
That's right.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
And they're all floating around the groups
from the
for like a tenner.
The back of a wagon, yeah. I remember that. So... it reminds me slightly of Eau de Merveille's, or whatever it's called, by Hermes.
Merveille.
So it's a kind of amber with a little bit of an orangey kind of note. It's not bad. I thought it was all right. To be honest, I get why you might think, oh, it's a bit of a sickly, bit
sickly. That's a great word.
It is sickly
to describe it.
I get that, but I think gentle application, couple of sprays, let it just do its thing, and it's not dissimilar to that Eau de Merveille's, which I don't own, by the way, but I always go, yeah, I like that. I think it's probably because I just like the bottle and stuff, and I still haven't got one. But anyway, so yeah, it's all right. And I should be really... I hating Fragrance du Bois. There's loads of reasons why I don't like Fragrance du Bois, right? Yeah. But the perfumes are not really one of them. I think those old ones, because I'm not really familiar with new stuff, so I'm talking about, I haven't tried anything since about 2018, right? So I'm just talking about probably the original ones that they released, which was actually quite a lot. I thought they were all really classy, really well made, good perfume. Not worth the money necessarily. The whole aesthetic was kind of just ripping off Tom Ford, wasn't it? Like even just the font on the bottles and stuff, I was like, nah, I'm troubled by all this. And the whole like vibe of them, something just annoyed me, and the influencer kind of shit that they were on. But I cannot. I have to be honest about the perfumes themselves. I think, albeit yes, they're not breaking loads of new ground or whatever, but they weren't a cynical clone house as far as I was concerned. I think they did some good stuff.
Yeah,
Later on, they maybe were, but I think the stuff that they were doing originally was all right.
No, I don't think they've ever really been clone house, although Oud Noir Intense is arguably a, Oud Wood.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
If not clone, sort of certainly in that space. But I think if I'm honest, I would say that first... I sound like one of those wankers you get at gigs going, oh yeah, no, their early work was better. But honestly, I think their first range was the best. Yeah. Certainly, the more recent stuff I've struggled with a bit. It's felt lower quality. Also, they've used this perfumer. I forget the name of the guy. It's a sort of. Hamid or Shamid or something like that, who did the Producer Michael one, and he just uses this kind of this leather note in everything he does that's just utterly fucking brutal. And if you like it, great, but I really, really dislike it, and it murders everything in its path. I'll have to look the guy's name up, but I've not smelled... I mean, you smell this guy's work and it's like, yeah, that's him. Right. They all smell the same.
Okay.
Anyway.
Then I wore...
Back to you.
Okay, then I wore Celine Rimbaud, which is a nice Chanel-like lavender sort of perfume, a bit along the lines of maybe something like Boy or what's another lavender one from Chanel. So basically very classy. I'm comparing it to Chanel, and just a lovely, it's got that warmth underneath of the orris that they have in all of those Celines. It's very nice, not blowing any doors off, but it's good. Then I wore the Equipage, the vintage one that I bought, which I showed last episode, and nice. I actually said I preferred my newer one. Do you remember me saying that?
I do.
Yeah, and then I wore this and went...
Do you now withdraw that?
No, I just said they're both really good. Marked difference in that, like, you can tell the other ones are vintage in that some of the base materials might be a bit deeper, but other than that, they're both fantastic. So even if you buy a new Equipage or you buy a vintage one, you're going to be getting a fantastic perfume either way. And yeah, they're both spectacularly good. Then I wore Abd's Shalam Sharif. It smells like Coca-Cola or like Dr. Pepper, again, quite a reductive sort of like thing, but it's very resinous, smells very like there's like myrrh and kind of incense sort of like vibes to it. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's not one of those like dead super cheap. It's quite an obscure Arabic brand. It's not one of those like, oh, you can just go and find these weird sort of wonderful cheap kind of things. It's still quite expensive and quite nichey. And yeah, it's really good. So I would actually get it, because I've worn that sample that you gave like a few times. I'm like, oh my God, this stuff is like amazing. So that is called Shalam Sharif.
Okay, what's next on the 414?
I'm probably going to be accused of being a shill again for mentioning this, but I wore Les Abstraits de Cendres, which is an absolutely fantastic perfume, probably one of the best perfumes of the last decade, in my opinion. Not saying that lightly.
We need to blow the shill klaxon.
I know.
Like whenever you mention it.
It's outrageous because I'm not being funny, right? And people go, oh, you can't say that because you got that for nothing and he's your mate and all this. Even if he wasn't my mate, even if I hated his guts, right? It doesn't change the fact that that is an amazing perfume, right? It is an amazing...
He didn't make the fucking perfume, for God's sake. Antoine Line made the perfume.
Well, exactly. But again, I'm not taking that away from him either, right? Because he was instrumental in the making of it. Antoine Lee wouldn't have necessarily.
That's a very different perfumer, Antoine Lee.
He wouldn't have made that perfume if it wasn't, prompted by Eugene. But anyway, let's not get into that. It's fantastic, and as good as the other two are in that collection, Descendres is like the best by like a million miles, in my opinion. I do like the other two. I know Fliss likes the Iris one, which is fantastically good.
Oh, I just can't. I just keep posting about it.
Make that noise again.
Whenever there's a break in what I'm wearing, I post that, because it's just like, what did I do? What did I do today? I wore fucking Bellum again. I'm sorry.
Soz. Whenever I wear Descendres, I get compliments off the wife. She likes that vibe. I really do like it. I find it's easy to overspray it though.
Hard to wear.
Because the smokiness, is so fucking intense. And if you overdo it, it can leave you a little bit fucking gassed out.
I get fatigued from it. I love it. I love it like more than anything. I think it's the most artistic, amazing piece of work. But you can definitely overdo it. And it really, it almost fatigues you. It's almost like being like lovesick or something. Do you know what I mean? You're like, oh my God, I love this so much, but it's like, it's almost too much for me. Anyway, so let's, shill moment over.
Shill klaxon.
So this is YSL Koros Cologne Tonique 2013, I think, which is the Cologne tonic version of Koros. It is good actually. Doesn't smell really much like Koros, but it's a kind of hyper fresh, but slightly skanky little bit, but in a kind of modern way.
Did you spray it into your forehead?
You can do. I mean, it's the thing that you could probably wear at the gym. It's the Koros that you could definitely wear at the gym and get away with it.
Do you know, Koros at the gym, that is a fucking pure alpha move. Isn't it? Like, big dogging the whole fucking environment. Yeah, look at me. Oh, fucking...
So anyway, I'm conscious that we're only halfway through, so I'm going to try and blitz through these, right? So I wore Celine Dans Paris, which is very...
Dans
Paris. So it's your Paris.
Dans Paris, It's mine.
It's... what is it like? It's a bit like... and again, I'm just comparing it to something else, and I can't even think what it's like. Shit. I can't remember.
Oh no! Sorry, I was thinking of Bois Dormant. They all basically smell a little bit like, one of their parents was Dior Homme, and they're like Dior Homme's fucking bastard array of kids with all the different lovers.
I know what it smells like, and this was one that we discussed at the time. The last time I wore it, in my opinion, it smells like Oboe. Odabo by L'Occitane, which we all love, and we all established that it's one of our favourite kind of dirtied vanillas. I always get...
It was in my £200.
Well, funnily enough, I'll tell you, this is the difference. This is the crucial difference which would make you buy Dans Paris, right? Eau de Beau, to me, reminds me of that kind of like, I don't know why, because it's herbal, it's not particularly honeyed, but it reminds me of mead, right? It reminds me of like a medieval, like if it's a perfume in the medieval times, it reminds me of that, right? It's got this kind of rustic, like even though it's a kind of soft vanilla in a sense, it's kind of dirtied with this sort of herbalness. It feels like, it reminds me of like Bucky, like Buckfast or something. Do you know what I mean? It's got that whole like vibe, you know, like ye oldie sort of vibe to it to me. Whereas
it's a post jousting flagon of mead.
Yeah,
that's what it's. Just coming from the joust.
So that's what it all.
The sort of perfume you can wear.
That's what it all reminds me of, right? But the Dans Paris is like the cleaned up, like not medieval version of that exact same thing, which is interesting, that they could be so kind of different but still ultimately the same. And clearly, if you want to save yourself like a lot of money, get the L'Occitane. Serge Lutens Clair de Musc, which is in a nice old, lovely old Serge Lutens bottle, and it's a musk fragrance. It's clean and dirty, very much in the vein of your standard musks, shall we say, but it gives you loads of little treats throughout the day where you're like, this perfume's dead simple, but it's like gives you little bits of like almost like metallic-y things.
It's one of those ones where you think it could be a bit meh, but then when you're wearing it, you're like, and you'd not. And I remember thinking a couple of times when I had a bottle, shall I sell it? It's a bit meh. And then when I wore it, going,
yeah, exactly.
No,
it's like being in like a kind of mist of stuff, and then occasionally things just coming out of the mist and going, ooh, like weird little like vibes and stuff. Love it. Amazing perfume. And that kind of perfumery is just basically my bag all the way. And they're usually musks, right? And musks are like the most kind of easy thing in perfumery, but it just tickles my fancy. So, you know. Then I wore Rive Gauche because it was my son's parents' evening, and I wore like a shirt and stuff. And I thought, what would be a classy choice? Rive Gauche. Oh my God. I've got the vintage tin one. And it's one of my favourite perfumes, man. I mean, people go on about Fougère. It's not really Fougère, you know. It doesn't really have like that coumarin, like warm thing that I always talk about. It's kind of quite cool and sort of cold almost, but very fresh, and it's got that little anise note to it. Fantastic. I mean, it's barbershop, if you want to describe it as barbershop, but I would not describe it particularly as Fougère. I love it. I love Rive Gauche. I'm sad that it's not around. I'm sad that the other bottles, the square one, the re-released one, which is pretty good as well, goes for like over 200 quid now. And I'm like, nah, I'm not.
Yeah, it's really hard to get your hands on a good on
the metal tin ones are like, yeah, you ain't going one of those.
I've got
one as well, but
is it worth a few
they're worth a few quid now. But like, I won't be getting another one. Put it that way. So I've just kind of eked out my tin that I've got. Then I wore Juicebox Black Powder, which is a ridiculous themed on grunge. Speaking of you going to Pixies, this is it's supposed to be like Nirvana-y kind of.
I remember. Didn't they have like a picture of some sort of?
They
like,
did.
Aldi Kurt Cobain or something in the
it's kind of
like the B-Tech Kurt Cobain as the kids would
but
say.
like a kind of model, you know, like a really sanitized like model version, and it's like that's not it. But anyway, the actual perfume is a huge load of aroma chemical business that you might not like, but it has a very heavy smoky vetiver accord that's created in there, which is fantastic. And it also smells like grape soda, like a ridiculous kind of very false sort of like soda-y kind of smell. I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's amazing.
I think they've got some really good perfumes, you know, and they've worked with some pretty decent perfumers. And I love the aesthetic and the 78 ml bottle size and the vinyl
the bottles are great
and stuff. It's all very cool.
I mean, I like it. I like the whole, like, they've got a kind of acid house one. They've got like, you know, they're all very like
the acid house one is like what's it called? Cheeky Smile, is it? I think. They sent me a bottle of that with, and they had fragrance weirdo inscribed on it. And my daughter went, "Yeah, I'll have that, thanks." And she basically ripped through that in like a few weeks, like just really fucking rinsed it.
I might get that one because I do really like it. It's one of those minimal, like musky. It's a lot of aroma chemicals. It's very much like nudge, nudge, wink, wink chemicals. You know what I mean? Which I like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's the ultimate fucking synthetic perfume.
Then I wore Mendita Rosa Albatross, which is a new Mendita Rosa. Is anyone familiar with that line?
Oh, really?
I think it's the, what are they called? Talismans? Is that the line?
Are they the ones with the crazy caps? They've all got the mad sort of handmade
coat hanger, like wrapped around a rock or something.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. One of them is that. I had one that was almost exactly that as you just described. I forget what it was called.
A Tipo, something like that. It's really good.
Architepo?
Architepo, yeah. It's really fucking good, man. It's really nice.
Yeah. I think I had a bottle of that. I might have sent you a decant of that, about 15 years ago or something ridiculous.
And I still haven't bought it, and I still love it from when you sent me that decant. It's fucking brilliant, man. It's really good perfume. I really liked it.
Mad. Fucking hell, that is mad.
So I read the notes before I tried it, and it says watery, ozonic notes, anise, pineapple.
What?
Rose, cashmere wood, Haitian vetiver, Moroccan cedar, Virginia cedar and white musk. And I was like, okay, is this going to be... You always fear that it's going to be Aventus when you've got
a pineapple
note in there, but it is... Yeah, but it isn't.
Thank
isn't. It's a different kind of... It reminded me of, and I'm not sure if this is right because I haven't tried it for ages, but I think it reminded me of Goldfield and Banks' Pacific Rock Moss, which was one of those perfumes that was kind of hyped at the time and people were going on about it. But I really liked it. It's not as like awfully sickly as that. The pineapple note is actually really nice, and it does have like a cashmere, like woody, musky sort of base underneath, so it's kind of fruity, and it does have sort of an ozonic kind of watery opening with a bit of like kind of sea spray sort of vibes. I liked it. It's probably more commercial than a lot of their other stuff, and I did say this, that the Mendita Rosa as a brand, they've got really high artistic ideas and things that they're kind of aspiring to be, but they just don't quite hit the mark for me. Not a single one has gone, but some of them are quite creative, but they just fall short of being like really, really creative to the point where I go, yeah, I'm fully invested and I want to buy one of those. So yeah, I mean, Albatross, there you go.
Just on the subject of pineapple, and this is completely fucking stupid, but your lot, Ben, did you see the Brighton trolling of Roma?
Yeah.
And they unveiled a huge sign that basically said, Totti loves pineapple.
Did you see the origin of that?
Yeah, because Roma had held up, had a massive banner that said something like "The Queen sucks cock" or something.
The Queen likes the Queen gives blowjobs or something like that.
Yeah,
and so when they came to Brighton to play the second leg, the Brighton fans held up a big sign saying Totti likes pineapple on his pizza.
That's more of an insult than anything else I've heard.
The ultimate insult to Roma fans. They're just heartbroken by that. Good. How many more have we got, James?
Sorry, it's yesterday.
Oh,
so
two.
I wore Queer de Rossi.
Nice.
Which is one of my favourite perfumes of all time. I played in a tennis tournament.
Did you win?
And I didn't do very well, no. I did really badly. Like, I fucking embarrassed myself. I may as well have just shit my fucking white shorts and just gone home. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, it was horrendous what happened there. And I'm playing against old folks as well, do you know what I mean? No, I was playing against some good people, but there was some bony motherfuckers in there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
No. I was just about to say, you need to take heart. When Baron de Coubertin founded the Model Olympics, he said it's not the winning, it's the taking part that counts.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very good motto. And you know what? I've been like a fucking little Buddha on that court recently. Yeah. Fat and bald, but also quite zen and peaceful, right? Because I basically, like, I was getting really angry, right? And I'm not a fucking angry guy, but I'm quite a big fucking dude. And do you know what I mean? I could see people being like, oh shit. I'm like, I'm not angry with you. I'm angry with myself for like playing shit. So I was like, let go of all that. Don't be like that. Don't be that dickhead. You come down here to enjoy yourself. Yeah. Well, I go there to enjoy myself out of, you know, work and stress of life and stuff. So just enjoy it. You know, if you're doing badly, who fucking cares? Do you know what I mean? So I took that, but I was also like, I'm going to wear like the nicest, most ridiculously like opulent perfume to like play this competition. So anyway, no, but the problem is it brings out all the fucking really good players, like when they want to do like an internal tournament. So they're all going to win. Do you know what I mean? But I suppose it's not the winning, is it? But anyway, then today I'm wearing Imaginary Author's new one, The Language of Glaciers, or Glaciers.
Glaciers can't even fucking talk, mate. That doesn't make no sense.
We've had this one, haven't we? Yeah. What a load of bollocks. You know what I mean? Fucking Language of Glaciers. It's really good. It's really nice.
And
yeah,
is
excellent.
It glacial in some respect?
I'll give it that, yes.
Oh, wow.
I'd say it's a kind of herbal, floral, woody floral. It's got lilac, which is not dissimilar to violet in a way, in that it's quite aloof and quite
spooky.
Kind of, it gives this strength. Yeah, it is a little bit, but it's also, it's got kind of, well, I'll tell you what it's got. It says Blue Bugle.
I thought you were going to say bubonic there. Oh, yeah, it's got the bubonic plague. Yeah, obviously.
So Blue Bugle, Cashmere Wood. It's definitely got the Cashmere Wood. It's a small
flower.
Here we go. Fliss
yeah,
knows.
it's a flower, and the shape of it is shaped almost like a
trumpet,
bugle trumpet.
I thought that was like some sort of drug reference.
Forget me not, juniper, lilac, pine, snow accord.
Oh, hello.
Which, fuck off with your snow accord.
Imaginary Authors always do that,
let them have the.
They always
let them have the snow
fantasy
accord.
accord.
Yeah. But fine, I'm happy with that. And if that's their thing that they do, then I'm happy with it. And do you know what? It's a bloody good perfume. It's original to me, smells original, and I've enjoyed wearing it today. So good for you, Imaginary Authors, for not just rehashing some bollocks or copying anybody else.
Their stuff.
They're pretty innovative.
All of their stuff is pretty out there. They're not a brand that sort of compromises a great deal. What have you got there, Ben?
So this one, Yesterday Haze, the notes are fig, iris, cream, tonka, tree bark, walnut bitters, and then wait for it, orchard dust.
Orchard dust?
Orchard dust, yeah.
Do you know what? We've just been saying about that. They are made by the perfumer is the brand owners, aren't they? I think. For a untrained like perfumer, they're really good and like say really original. They're kind of like I can't help but respect them. I don't like them all, but I think they're trying to do original stuff, and it's very difficult.
I have in my hand Fox in the Flower Bed, and the notes are I assume they just put their stupid ones last. Jasmine, tulips, frankincense, wildflower honey, pink peppercorns, silver thistle, and alpine air. Alpine air.
They got one that smells like tennis balls, apparently.
Something lawn.
Yeah.
The soft lawn.
Yeah.
It's actually rather nice. Yeah, very good.
This is great, man. This Yesterday's Haze is brilliant. It's one of the strangest fig perfumes I've ever smelled, but it's great.
This is very, very... So I don't know why I've used this analogy before, but this smells like airplane toilet soap. I don't know. There's something about it that sort of makes me think like mass produced, rigorously tested. You know, like everything in an aeroplane has to be tested for like 6 billion different ways because, you know, the last thing you want is a fucking medical emergency. So they test the shit out of it. You can't just whack in some nice smelling soap. It has to be soap that's been fucking workshopped and tested on every human alive, and so you always end up with some weird smelling thing, and that's what this smells like, weird smelling soap. It's very pleasant, but it's not something I'll wear. Right, news just before we wrap up. Now, you can't have missed the news that Michela, I think it's Michela, has released, Curly Fragrance has released her first perfume, the Ultimate Panty Dropper. It is actually literally marketed as the Ultimate Panty Dropper. Her brand is called Reisiger, which I believe has some sort of meaning. I don't know what it is.
I've just thought what it might mean.
Right. What? So God.
You know, she's always like, get your balls in the right
You
position.
sexy bastard, get your balls in a comfortable position or something. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you know.
She's a fucking knobhead.
Well,
I mean, come on, let's have it right.
I think she is. I think she's all right. I mean, her stuff is not my bag. She's favourably reviewed Soma, and it like I'd have to be really commercially stupid to give her a good kicking at this point. However, I will say that her fan base, generally speaking, are of a particular mindset, and marketing something as Beast Mode Ultimate Panty Dropper seems to be pretty nakedly commercial, and I'm not sure I can say a lot of favourable stuff about it. Go on, James.
No, I'd like to say I was kind of joking around, being a bit mean. I don't really know her like very well. I'm sure she's doing her own thing, and there's plenty more worse people out there. But And again, it seems very sort of twatty and be like, oh, kind of like gatekeepery to be like, oh, this is a kind of classy sort of like, you know, hobby or like thing, industry, whatever you want to be into. We don't need all that kind of like filth when, you know, you listen to this podcast and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. Because, you know, we have a certain penchant for filth, don't we? But
yeah, it's a different sort of filth. But,
like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, we've all had our moments.
Well, I think we have quite obviously dirty minds, but it doesn't mean that we cheapen the halls of perfume with.
There's nothing cheap about her perfume. I'm sick of this. I've kept quiet for long enough. It's a fucking joke. The bottle looks fucking crap. The lid looks crap. The design looks crap. The website is a fucking shambles. The fragrance costs $295. She's a fucking disgrace. That perfume's a disgrace. The ad copy is the worst ad copy I've ever read. And that's not even hyperbolic. That is literally the worst. I read it and I was offended from start to finish. And not because I'm easy to offend and I'm like, oh, woke like liberal or anything like that. It's just fucking disgusting. It's written for the very bottom of the barrel. The very bottom, which is where her and her fucking perfume belongs. Bomb.
Well, never let it be said that Ben
I haven't had a rant for a
does
while.
not have strong opinions.
You haven't had a rant for a while, have you?
No. Okay, look, fair enough. It's definitely, it gives strong incel vibes.
Strong. It's disgusting.
But she plays to it. She plays to it because she, and the whole thing is just a commercial endeavour.
I mean, to be fair, the note listings probably looks all right. It probably smells fine, but like, do you know, like I just can't do the rest of it.
So this is the thing. We are all judging this based on everything but the perfume.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
the perfume doesn't matter at this point.
Well,
and I'm not one to often say that, but you know, through what like mechanism am I going to try this perfume, right? I mean, I'm tempted to ask her to fucking send us them, right? Send us it, right? Because I'm not just going to tear it apart. We've said what we've said about it. We know what we know about it, except for the smell of it. Let's see what it smells like. Well, I'll guarantee through her taste of what she likes, which is the stronger the better, right? I don't think it's going to be good.
Well, it's a Chris Morris perfume.
I mean,
it'll probably be
Chris
very,
Morris,
very, very strong. I agree. Chris Morris has done some excellent stuff. He's done some fucking howlers as well. His productivity is, alarmingly high. But
so high, he's got 2 fucking names. He's got 2 personas. I mean, what is all that about?
So apparently, I read somewhere that Morris is his middle name. And he used it because he is the heir to something or other based on Carbonell. He's like his father or something was a big noise in perfumery, and he didn't want to be seen as a sort of nepo baby, so he used a sort of alternative name.
Imagine being the heir to something. Just the heir to anything. I mean...
I am the son and heir to a shyness that is criminally vulgar. I'm son and heir to nothing in particular. Don't know, a little bit of Morrissey there to lighten the mood or darken it. It's entirely up to you. Anyway, to Michela, I still don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm going to say Michela. To Michela's perfume,
They can't even spell a name the same way on the website. I'm reading it. It's spelled once with one L, once with two L's, and once with three L's. So
I'm pretty sure it doesn't have three L's.
Someone has not read the copy on this.
Oh wow, that's quite interesting. I mean, personally, right, it does not fucking appeal to me. Beast mode, pussy magnet. These are all pretty fucking base terms, and it would not appeal to me at all. What she is doing strikes me as a very outright commercial endeavour to fleece a bunch of incels out of $250 a time. Hopefully they get a decent perfume, but to be perfectly honest,
fuck them if they don't.
Fuck them if they don't.
That disturbing little fucking sect of society.
Well, the other thing is,
she must be making a fortune, because we know that she makes a lot for influencer.
Absolutely.
Things. Well, we assume she does, right? Let's say we assume. We don't know. Okay.
No.
Well, she's got a rate card. I mean, we all know that.
Yeah, she's got a rate card, obviously, and she's milked this for fucking
350,000 YouTube followers. Of course, she's got a rate card, and that is a good size fucking business, right? And good luck to her. But the thing I will say to anyone considering buying this perfume, right, is simply this: no perfume is a substitute for your personality. No perfume will make her take her clothes off. Do not assume by spraying this you are going to get laid, right? Suspend all of that, right? Strip that away. If you believe that she has taste in perfume that aligns with you, then go for it, right? If you like the perfumes that she's recommended previously, then may well enjoy the perfume. But for fuck's sake, right? And honestly, no perfume will get you laid. It does not matter. As long as you don't smell like an actual fucking ass, the odds are your personality is going to be the most important thing. If you smell like an ass, you're probably going to be repelling people. That's fair. But honestly, this whole fucking here's a fanny magnet fucking perfume. This one's going to get you laid. It's just, if you are dumb enough to fucking believe a perfume will get you laid, then fuck you and your $300. I don't know. I sort of, as I said, I feel like I have to kind of pull my punches a little bit, because in fairness, she did review Soma perfume very well, and I'm pretty grateful for that. So it would be churlish of me to start acting like an absolute cunt. But on the other hand, incels. So,
but at least we've got Ben to the voice of reason.
Like a cunt, but
That was
Ben can be the word. Right, okay, that was a hoot. So look, let's go and I don't know, wrap this up. So for anyone we have offended, we are truly sorry. Please do submit your complaints. I don't know. Stick them up your fucking arse for all I care. We'll be back in part 2 to put the boot into Luca Turin. Stick with us. Bye! Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the 13th episode of the 3rd season of... It's getting quite long. There's a lot of words there. Welcome back to Les Oderants. Let's talk perfume. So, kind of like quite a high-key, violent finish there to part 1. So for part 2, we're going to shift it up a fucking gear. And we are going to take... we are going to take Luca Turin to task.
I thought you were going to say we're going to take Luca Turin's fucking head off. Bring me the head of Luca Turin.
Clean fucking off. So Luca Turin flounced away from perfume reviewing some months ago. He's recently flounced back in, and nobody gave a solitary fuck when either of those events happened.
He was like this.
I'm going now. I'm going now. I'm back now. I'm back. Nobody gives a shit, mate. No.
I have have to say, I have subscribed to his blog,
Of course
and it's brilliant.
Of course. And,
He is also brilliant. That's why we can take the piss, because he is actually fucking pretty good as well.
If he actually ever listens to us, and we'd be honoured if he was, he would hopefully know that this is said all somewhat tongue in cheek. He is probably one of, if not the most famous perfume reviewer. We could only aspire to be as successful as he has been in this field. However, it is fair to say that we don't always agree with everything he's written. If you are dumb enough to have been listening to us for like the last 3 years, I mean, honestly, you may remember that we did the Turin Inquisition, where we took a look at some of, I think, the 5-star perfumes that Luca Turin had rated, and we sort of decided to see how well we agreed with them. We've decided to look at...
That was the first one I was ever in.
Was it? I knew there was something wrong with it. And you're still here. what you're still fucking here.
I think it was
Can we call
season 2,
this
episode
episode
16, I think it was. I'll just check.
What do you want to call this episode?
Turin your face, bitch.
Turin your face.
No?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I like
we'll workshop that. Okay.
Workshop it. Turin your face. Right.
Maybe just drop the bitch and
Turin
Yeah.
your face.
yeah.
Okay, or we could call it "Bring Me the Head of Luca Turin." Either way, we are going to be taking a look at some of Turin's turkeys. The things that he gave 1 and 2 star reviews to. Actually, I think they're mostly 2 stars. This because the 1 stars was kind of pretty 1-star-ish. So this is basically a bunch of shit where he's had a pretty negative review. We are going to read the review out. We're going to talk about the perfume. We're going to decide whether or not we agree. Where are we going to start? Who wants to pick one to go first?
Is Moss Bresches one of them?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
What a fucking knobhead. What is he on about with that?
Well,
how can you
do the review?
Sorry, but like,
What did he
that's
say about Moss
absolutely
Bresches? Yeah.
outrageous.
This is
Hang
Tom
on,
Ford.
I'll just say, right, this is what happens, right? We look at a list of ones that are 2 stars and you go, you cunt, how can you rate that, you wanker? And then you read his review and go, oh, actually, he's got a bit of a point.
Got a point. He's got
But
a
I don't
point.
know how he does that. You're like, I hate you for doing that, but you
Is it a long review, Ben?
It's not. It's short. It's like literally 2 or 3 sentences.
Okay, shoot. So this is Tom Ford, Moss Bretches, Luca Turin's 2-star review. Go.
A decently put together, slightly dull, sweet woody confection, distantly related to Galan's superb Derby, only vastly less good. Also, what on earth are Moss Breeches? The end.
Okay. So
Boring Woody. he calls
boring
it.
woody, I think, is offensive in the extreme. I mean, for me, this is a mossy, honeyed moss, and it is fucking beautiful. And this is not just down to the fact that I spent a reasonable chunk of change on tracking down a bottle, because there was actually never that many made. It was only in production, I think, for 1 year in like 2011 or something. So I tracked one down. The money you pay now, by the way, for a bottle is absurd. I mean, there are bottles going for like $1,000 and stuff for a 50 ml, which is...
I saw one for $2,500.
Fuck me. That is mental. That is absolutely mental. Well, I paid, I think it was £400 maybe, or £300, which is still a lot, right? And I'll be honest, that was a blind buy as well.
It's about right, though. That's about right.
Yeah. I mean, it's not...
Because it's rare.
Much
It's
more,
rare.
Yeah, it's
right?
rare, but it's actually not that much more expensive than retail, because the retail on the Tom Ford private blends now is about 250 quid or 280 quid, I think. Which is obviously expensive. Nevertheless, right, the fact that I bought it and spent that amount of money, that has not tainted my perception of it, because I think it would be very easy to believe that you spend that amount of money and then you have to convince yourself it's good. No, that's not how I work. If I spend a lot of money and I don't like it, I sell the fucking thing. It's straightforward. I smelt that and I was just like, oh my fucking God, I can see why this has got such a cult following. I think it is staggeringly good perfume. And for me, that is one of them that, you know, some of the ones we're going to talk about are like maybe I agree, maybe it's a 2-star, maybe it's a 3 or a 4. For me, that is a 5-star banger every fucking day of the week, and I have no idea what Luca Turin is talking about. End of.
I have to say I agree.
Fliss, yeah.
I wore it the first time. I'd never worn it before. And you sent me that little precious drop. And I was sitting in my garden in the sunshine, having a cup of coffee, and all I kept thinking to myself was, bloody hell, this smells good. This smells really good. And it's honeyed, it's aromatic, it's spicy, there's a leatheriness to it. The dry down, I got a lot of almost heliotropy vanilla, but there's also in the tonkiness of the vanilla, there's I called it minty fresh, but it's not minty, but it's that slightly acrid brightness that rosemary has. And I actually think it's really quite complex, and I really loved it. I would happily wear that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not expect that, actually. I thought you would not enjoy it.
I really like it.
Okay. Brilliant. James?
The way, at the end of the day, largely the perfumes that are just iconically brilliant and amazing, we all agree that they're good. So it won't surprise me, you know, if everyone follows suit on this. I think it's absolutely stunning. And I remember it being in shops. I remember spraying it and going, yeah, I really like that. But again, I just didn't buy it. I wish I'd fucking bought it.
Should have bought 10 of them. Fucking 2.5 grand.
I should have bought 10 of them. Well, yeah, that's it. Hindsight is whatever. So I absolutely adore it. I get vibes of a kind of cinnamony sort of opening with not dissimilar to Italian Cypress in a sense, more like Z14 a little bit, but then it has so much more to it. It's got that like truffly, patchouli kind of thickness of like Tom Ford's kind of signature of perfumes. When he describes Derby, I mean, okay, it's a sort of men's kind of leathery, mossy perfume, but like, it's not Derby, is it, at all?
No, I don't think it's got anything
crazy,
to do with
man.
Derby.
It's got nothing to do with it at all. It's completely different.
Which is why it's reductive of him to do these kind of star ratings anyway, but then to kind of be so dismissive. It's almost like he gets things and he can't be arsed, or he smelled loads of things that day. It's like, dude, give it a bit of time. Wear these perfumes. Does he really wear these perfumes? Does he just smell them?
I don't
think he does.
I think I have noticed... this may not be comprehensively true, but on the whole, the less he has to say about a perfume, the lower the star rating. So, the things that he's very dismissive of tend to be very short reviews. Now, you could argue maybe that's because they're shit perfumes and there's not a lot to say about them. My guess is that actually he's just not spent a lot of time and he's just banging out a fucking dodgy review. It's like, yeah, this, bosh, done. That's how much I've thought about it. I think I reckon I could write if not a book, a decent pamphlet on that perfume, because I think it's amazing.
I also think, though, that there is something to be said for the fact that he writes very well, and there is this brevity is the soul of wit. And when he is writing short reviews, they are so cutting. He knows he's being funny, or there's an archness to them. He doesn't want to gush with hate, because brevity is the soul of wit. And I think that that the whole time when I'm reading his stuff, I just think that there's this tongue-in-cheekness to the way he slaps off stuff he doesn't like.
There is.
But when you say things like it's related to Guerlain,
doesn't make him right. He's also wrong.
It removes from it, because I get what you're saying, but I always feel like when he does things like that, and it's not the first time. Like I've read a bunch of times where he said things, and you just think, mate, I'm not sure you've even smelled it.
Fucking planet.
And like when you're so wrong. It just for me, it detracts from the wit.
What did you think of it, Ben? Oh, sorry, James, you were going to come in there.
No, I know. Go on, Ben.
I didn't like it that much.
Oh, really? Fuck
no,
you.
but I don't agree with his 2 stars.
You.
Because I can smell
out.
that it's good. I'm surprised that he didn't mention like the beeswaxy honey kind of thing, because for me that's really central to the perfume.
Exactly. It's the main fucking thing is the honeyness to me.
But I'm also surprised about calling it a dull, sweet woody, because like there's so much more going on, and it's quite dirty as well. Like it smells a little bit like
more
dirty old
aromatic
clothes
than woody for me. I think there's a lot of herbs in there.
Does anyone get that kind of old BO, that old kind of dirty old clothes sort of smell to it? It's
maybe that might be why I tend to like that in a perfume.
It's lovely. It's a nice smell.
As an undercurrent, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't when I wore it. It didn't like smack me in the face. I didn't really super enjoy it, but at the same time, I was like, "Yeah, this is good though." Like I can smell that it's clearly good.
You wouldn't give that a 2-star then?
No, I'd give it 4.
Okay.
I would just say it has more of the masculine aromatic leaning thing to it that is not very popular to do anymore. And it probably, in fact, it wasn't very popular to do in 2011 or whenever this came out, right? I would say, right, that it has this like signature, like I say, that kind of truffly, patchouli heft that things like For Men has, you know, the For Men Extreme, and those kind of like things, right, which is this kind of slightly earthy, like mossy, truffleish. It's kind of sweet, but it's like earthy, right? And I think that like signature, there's a really unsung perfume in Noir, right? Tom Ford Noir For Men, right, is a wonderfully complex patchouli forward perfume that I think is spectacularly good, right, and kind of gets overlooked. So you look at this and think people are trying to charge like thousands for a bottle of this when there's already stuff in the Tom Ford line that is sort of have a vibe of this that you could get for much less. And I'm not taking anything away from this. This is really good. And if it was more affordable, I would definitely, even at like inflated vintage prices of a few £100, I would probably consider it, because it's that good. And it's not something you get really anymore. But by the same rule, you know, when it goes into the thousands and shit, it's out of my, reach. And I know it's part of it is it's a rare Tom Ford. It's not a very widely available bottle. And I bet you're glad you've got it in your collection, Dan.
I am, and I've often considered selling it just because the sheer sort of value of it, and if I run into financial hard times, I certainly will sell it. But whilst I've got it, I fucking love it. It's absolutely superb. Okay, star ratings and the extent to which we disagree. Appreciate this is reductive, but you can't fucking you can't critique a star rating without offering an alternative. So I'm going to give it a 5 stars. Fliss.
I'm going to give it 4.
You can give it a half if you want as well.
4.5 then. I thought last time we did this, I wasn't allowed to do halves.
Well, fuck it. We make our own rules.
But if Dan likes
Well, I've been here long enough now. I'm no longer a newbie. I'll do what the fuck I want. 4 3/4.
4 3/4. Yeah, fuck it. Why not make it 5? Okay, good. So that's a high. And James?
I'll give it a 5.
Yes. Ben?
Get in.
Yeah, 4 for me, just because it didn't just personal taste has to come into it, doesn't it? And it wasn't really my thing, I guess.
Wasn't your jam. No. But it's sausage. Okay, good. So that is 1 in the eye for Luca Turin. What is next? Fliss, would you like to choose one?
Creed Silver Mountain Water.
I went to look for my bottle of Silver Mountain Water earlier and realised that I'd sold it.
There you go.
There you go,
There you
sensible.
go, indeed.
This is 1 star.
Oh, it's a 1-star. He's got a real fucking downer on Creed generally, hasn't he?
He really has. Fresh metallic. An unpleasant, hissy, metallic, fresh fragrance with a strange note of wood glue and amid the din.
Do you know what?
In quotation marks, though.
Yeah, fresh in quotation marks.
Yeah, I'll give him pretty well all of that. There is a very metallic sort of freshness to it. I actually don't love this perfume. There's a sort of inkiness to it that just seems to pervade this and numerous kind of clones, copies, and variations on the theme. That said, I think it is actually a decent perfume. I'm sort of on the Ben spectrum here, and that I think I can say that I admire the perfume without actually liking it very much. I just don't like it a great deal. For me, it's more of a 3-star perfume than anything else. Ben, you've actually got a bottle in your grubby little mitt there.
I do. I like it. I don't know if I would wear it so much now, but I like it when I bought it, obviously. But it's good. No, I like it. I do like it. It's like, I like how it's like very musky and a little bit grimy and grotty, and like it does have that metallic element to it when you first spray it, but I don't hate it, and I think that there's a fruitiness with the blackcurrant that kind of is okay, but the whole time I feel like it's a little bit of a Chad fragrance, but it's, I don't know, I can't hate it, and I like the muskiness to it.
I can hate it.
Oh God!
Yeah. I thought it was off when I first
this is
sprayed
seriously
it.
old. This is like a seriously old bottle.
I thought it has the same off note that vintage frags have when they lose their top notes, and I was like, ugh! And then it was so scratchy and metallic and spiky, and it smelled to me like really old shit soap. And
Shit soap? What, like
really
soap made of shit?
Well, soap that's gone off a bit. You know when your gran has got soap that's been in her bathroom for way long, and it's just all degraded, and the edges have gone a bit white, and it just smelt to me like it just was a bit off. And then it went pissy, and that'll be the blackcurrant, and it got weirdly fresher as it went on, but I didn't enjoy the freshness, and I didn't scrub it off. I didn't need to because it didn't last long enough. 1.
Okay, wow.
So the thing is, I don't know how much of that is this bottle, because this is a seriously old bottle of Silver Mountain water. It might have gone off. Like, it's...
Have you sprayed it to test that?
I mean, I only
he sprayed it into
put it into that decan. I mean, I haven't sprayed it for probably about 3 or 4 years before I put it into that decan.
Go on, James.
Go on, James.
God,
I love it.
Oh, really?
I fucking love it, right? I get everything you're saying about it, right? It's a completely cheap throwaway. It's almost an insult, right? It's very, very metallic. It has that pissy element. It has strange tea vibe to it, like a metallic tea. What I love about it is that technically it's fantastic because it's so original, right? Like
is
the
this
fact
not
that
the one that was a bit of a dupe of Paco XS or something?
No, that's Himalaya.
That's Himalaya, right?
Yeah,
sorry.
This was a dupe of nothing. This was a complete original trailblazing. It has like a slight violet leaf. It's got that kind of black currant. It's got like this metallic, and then the muskiness, and then the kind of pissiness. I wear it on a summer's day, white shirt. It's the most cooling, like it's like having like a cold bit of like metal next to your skin. I think I completely get the criticism of it. And if someone said they hated it with a passion, like Fliss just basically has, I completely understand that, right? But from a kind of technical perfumery point of view, even if you make the most annoying thing, even if you make Baccarat Rouge, if you make fucking, what's that horrible one, Herba Pura, if you make those kind of things, technically, I have to take my hat off to it and go, you've made something that is so unlike... It's unlike other perfumery that's out there because it's not necessarily pleasant, right? And the stuff that we generally like, that all of us like, are stuff that Luca Turin would probably... this is being the exception, these things that we're picking out, but generally speaking, we like those old powdery Chypre things that we all know we're going to fucking like, yeah? If it's got a bit of a kind of skanky, like, you know, if it's got depth and stuff. This doesn't really have any depth, right? It has really disparate ideas thrown into this kind of weird... probably quite thrifty in terms of the actual materials used. And I like that. I like that it's like a minimal thing and it's been this hugely it endures to this day. And I just find it wonderful to wear, but I understand why people don't like it. But I think it's brilliant. I can't not. Like, I just have to, I like it.
I used to like it a lot, and I like it a lot less now. I was just trying to work out how much of it I've used. I've used a good 3/4 of this bottle, and for a long time it was like my go-to scent. I used to really, really like it. I think when I got it, I think I fell into the trap of, you know, Creed always say, "Oh, so and so used this perfume," and it was like David Bowie wore this.
David Bowie was the big one.
I want to be like David Bowie, and so it's. But so that but I used to really love it. So now I feel like it's I love it less, but I still like it. I still
But David Bowie, when, do you know, was it Ziggy Stardust? Or was it fucking
exactly. What era?
Drum and bass fucking era. Do you know what I mean? Like what?
Yeah, it was the drum and bass era, I think. I don't know. I just don't like it. I find the ink note sort of oppressive, and it's a weird sort of juxtaposition of kind of cooling sort of fresh facets and something off. I guess maybe that's what Fliss is smelling. I think it's very off kilter, and it's a kind of, it's just a bit of a bizarre perfume, I think. I don't like it though, but I can at least appreciate that it's a decent fucking perfume. I would give it a solid 3 stars, even though I don't personally want to wear it. I wonder whether I do score things highly by default, but yeah, for me it's a 3-starer. Fliss, you gave it a 1?
Yep.
So
it's only because I didn't have to worry about scrubbing it off because it disappeared so quickly.
Fliss,
I'd actually had to have made the effort to scrub it. I'd have given it a 0.
Oh my goodness. R is 1. James, how many stars?
I'll give it a 4.
4? Wow. Excellent.
I've got things in my head. I'll just say, right, I went for an MRI scan today, right? Have you ever been in one of those fucking donut things?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's horrible, isn't it? It's horrible, right? It's dead loud.
True fact.
Yeah, sorry.
I fall asleep in them. I always fall asleep in them.
Well, do you know what? After the first 20 minutes, I was like, yeah. And then after that, it started to piss me off. But I remember thinking, because I had earplugs in and headphones on, and they said, oh, do you want to put the radio on? Yeah, go on then. Couldn't hear the fucking radio. All I could hear was the whirring of the fucking machine. But I also was like, this whirring is fucking annoying. But also, it kind of sounds like the start of every Strokes song as well. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I kind of can sort of get into this a little bit, and then you start going, no. After 20 minutes, you're like, fuck this, I need to get out of here. And the claustrophobia of it and everything. That is how I kind of feel about this fragrance, right? It's fucking annoying. But you could still fall asleep. Do you know what I mean? Because you're lying down. You're not in pain. You're fucking all right. Do you know what I mean? So 4 stars, boom. That's what I'm going to say about it.
Right, Ben, how many stars are you giving it?
3 for me. Even though I own it and I quite like it, I think it's a bit like a jackhammer. It's not a great perfume. It's 3 stars for me.
Okay, well, I think with the exception of Fliss, we all scored that higher than Luca did. I certainly a bit closer to at least one of us, the Fliss one, was of the same mind as Luca Turin on that one. Okay, Ben, you are now to choose one.
Okay, this one chose itself because I just took the lid off and it all came out and splashed all over me. So we're sticking with Creed and going with Himalaya. Which I now stink of because it's all over me.
I like Himalaya.
How do you feel about it?
So I bet we have it's 2 stars, this one. So
okay, yeah.
And he says, washed out pink pepper confection, overexposed by 3 stops. And the headline for it is soapy pepper.
Overexposed by 3 stops. So that's like a photography reference.
Yeah.
It's just saying it's
bleached out, kind of like
high contrast,
way too bright.
Yeah. He's not wrong, is he?
No, he's not. But also,
it's a pretty good description. But
it's a pretty good description. But the perfume's actually really rather nice. I like it a lot.
I love it. But do you know what?
I think it's.
I like Paco Rabanne XS.
Right, and that's why I asked about it on the last one. I couldn't remember which one it was, but I don't think I've ever actually tried the Paco Rabanne XS.
Well, you've tried Himalaya.
Right, okay, fine. It's that similar, is it?
Yeah, it's exactly the
Which came
same.
first?
Which do you think? Which do you think Creed would claim? Which do you think Creed would claim came first?
They
don't
in like
claim
1852.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was fucking Napoleon's.
Okay, so the Paco came first, did it?
Yeah. I used to wear the Paco.
Well,
my dad used to wear it as well in the early 90s
really?
when it came out. Yeah. And kind of always had a bottle just for like nostalgia. Like I smell this and it instantly just transports me to then. And to be fair to Creed, right, of all the things that originally, like when they brought stuff out, original Santal was just basically that Mont Blanc one, but a kind of really expensive version. But I would smell them side by side and go, okay, the Creed is a bit better, right? It's a bit more hyper realistic. It's a bit of a nicer version of that thing, even though they're almost inseparable. But the facts are, this was hundreds of pounds and the other is fuck all. So which one are you going to get? And I get that. And that's me saying this as somebody who hates clones and whatever. But the facts are, the Creed is the fucking clone, man, right? So go with the original, right? Same goes for the Paco Rabanne. I love this perfume, right? I think it's great, and I don't disagree with what he's saying about it. But just for God's sake, get the original, the Paco Rabanne. Don't get the Creed, because you don't need to in this instance. It's on some occasions, like I say, Green Irish Tweed is much better than Cool Water. Even an original bottle of Cool Water. It was way better, right? There's no comparison. Get that. That's worth it. Original Santal, no, because that's pretty awful, and so is the Mont Blanc, to be honest. But this is almost inseparable. I can't really determine much difference. They're both really quite strong and present. Very 90s to me. Just epitomises the 90s for me.
Very 90s.
Very 90s. But I love it.
So I can I jump in and say mine?
Yeah, please do.
Because it sort of bounces off of that in that. So it's quite complicated, my feeling about it, because there's a lot about it I really liked, right? When I sprayed it reminded me a little bit of like Calvin Klein Eternity and things like that, of that kind of early 90s thing. And I liked that. I thought that was great. But I wore it, right? And I went to the supermarket and I could smell myself. And I was a little bit embarrassed because I was like, this is such a Chad perfume. It's such a like 90s pop my collar, go down dance club, pop my Reebok classics on, have a little dance, shall we? Do you know what I mean? It was, but I like it, but you can't, it reminds me of something that I would have worn when I was 14 to like the under 18s disco or whatever.
Yeah,
But
to me it smells
good.
very... I think there's something slightly juvenile about it, or something that's so loud that there's not a lot of class to it.
None.
And I find it very boring, overly clean. The synthetics are a bit screechy, and that the reference to the 90s just makes it feel that whoever's wearing it is either lazy because they haven't thought of anything new since the 90s, or they're stuck somewhere else. And it just... And the screechiness to me is what makes it feel. Ugh. I can't imagine snuggling a man who's wearing this.
Oh dear!
You have to stand about 1.5 feet away while the wind blows in the other direction for you to be able to breathe.
You wouldn't have snuggled a teenage me, I'll tell you that, because for many reasons probably. But the facts are that I had the balm, so this reminds me of like first shaving, maybe. So I had like the balm, so I used to wear the stuff and the balm, and it used to fucking it's just this
radiate.
Yeah.
But I find it quite...
It is quite...
There's something that gets me at the back of my nostrils. It's just a bit like, whoa, the synthetic nature of the musks.
I find Creed,
a
lot of Creed, well, not all, but a lot of Creeds do that for me. They're right in the back of your throat, like gacky.
Yeah. And there's all these lovely citruses in there, but they're not fresh and juicy and real. That's just like lemon lollipops.
I still love it though. I still love it.
I know you
fucking love it. Honestly, I'm just like, oh man, it just like, it reminds me of a more innocent time.
Do you love it though because it takes you back somewhere and it reminds you?
Yeah, it does. But I love it because of
if you smelt it now.
I love it because of the smell of it as well. To be honest.
Yeah.
I can't separate the two things because it's very difficult to go, forget that, real kind of formative memory that you've got and kind of try to isolate it.
Yeah, no, it is.
I can't separate those things. However, if I do try to with a real sort of analytical kind of brain, I would go, no, because there's not much stuff like this anymore. And that's that again. Is that
thank God?
Well, again, some people will go, that's not a reason to like it. Do you know what I mean? That's no reason.
I'm being mean.
But it's like, it's not just the nostalgia. There's something about the actual smell of this. It's not as good as I would say to you, I'd kind of put that back to you that, okay, Fliss, this is not a million miles away from something like YSL Jazz. And you would go, no, it fucking is. YSL Jazz is like well classy and whatever. And you're right. Yeah. But if you kind of remove some of the...
Yeah, but I'd be defending YSL Jazz because it's in the back of my limbic system because that's what my first boyfriend at school wore.
Here we go.
So for me, there was that.
There's a lot of fingering going on to a lot of these perfumes, right? That's what this reminds me of, right? I'll be honest.
There was a lot of going to like, sixth form prom at his school and then sixth form prom at my school and, that whole getting dressed up. So I totally understand what you mean about it. I mean, I'm sure if I smelt Jazz now, I'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe...
I think if...
I'm 16 again.
I think if you, say, if you can remove some of the noise of this, and you might go, well, the noise of this is all the stuff that's annoying me. I think there's a kind of a basis in a similar, broadly masculine, aromatic vibe that, is...
It's not aromatic enough for me. To me, it's just high-pitched, all the citrus, all the bright musks, all the squeak, there's just, it feels like it lacks a midsection.
I think it's
and a sensible
very
base.
Elegant and lovely and charming. It's a charming perfume. I think it nails the brief, right? Far better than Silver Mountain Water for me. Himalaya is like such a perfect name. This to me sort of genuinely encapsulates this kind of idea of very cold, crisp air. It doesn't. It's not a strong perfume to me. It's a little bit concepty. It could be an imaginary author's perfume, with their mountain air. But I think it does it brilliantly. Mountain air doesn't have a smell as far as I know, but yet this I think is very good at sort of creating that visual. And I love the silver bottle. I think it's incredibly handsome, and you know, because I like the bottles, the aesthetic and stuff. I think it's a great perfume. And he gave it a 2-star. Fuck that. 3.5 from me at least, maybe 4.
Yeah.
You know that Zoologist's penguin that I sniffed recently? Not a million miles away, Dan. You might want to sniff it.
I might want to sniff the zoologist. Sniff a penguin. Yeah. Go on. So star reviews for Himalaya. Fliss.
2.
Ben.
I 2. I actually largely agree with Luca Turin on this one. 2 stars, and even the review isn't a million miles away.
I think his review is actually quite good.
This is the weird thing.
It's well articulated.
Like, we go, what? How can you do that? And then you read the review and go, yeah, actually, like he's got a point.
That is annoying.
Despite everything I've said, in terms of like the grand scheme of perfumery, it's not that like brilliant, right? But I'm defending its honour because I believe that the 2-star review and the dismissive, very half-arsed review from him is kind of snobbery in a sense. And I'm glad that it's snobbery against Creed rather than against Paco Rabanne, although he probably wouldn't like the Paco Rabanne because it smells exactly the fucking same. I'm going to give it a 3 because I like it and I think it's good. It's of a certain time. It's never going to be anybody's fucking, think it's amazing. And you'd say, oh, well, you're only giving it 3 and he's giving it 2. I think he's, I'm not even going to completely disagree with the 2 that he's given it. That's fine for me.
Like, just as a sort of postscript or footnote, XS Pour Homme, Paco Rabanne, 2 stars. Another green herbal fougere, but this time in a thin sour lemon style. If this is XS, let's trim it. That's actually not Luca though. That's Tania Sanchez.
So she's a bit arsey as well, isn't she? Fucking hell, Well, must be fun round there, Gaff, mustn't it? Going around for a fucking dinner party or something. Miserable twats, man. Oh, is this the food that you've prepared for us? Is it? See, Tanya will have a bitch about this when we get home, won't we? Fucking hell.
2 stars, you cunts. Okay, very good. That was probably the closest alignment with Luca Turin thus far. James, we're back to you because I can't remember what was on the list, so I can't choose one.
I'm going to say Gucci Pour Homme 2.
Okay, what does the maestro have to say about Gucci Pour Homme 2? It's probably fucking annoyingly accurate, isn't it?
This is another Tania Sanchez. This woody bergamot and violet leaf composition is a game attempt at making a spiced tea fragrance for men, but it feels oily and screechy.
No.
Ooh. I was sort of with her right up until the fucking the punch at the end. I don't know. I think it's an absolutely fucking lovely perfume. And
I really like it.
Really enjoyed it. Fliss, you go first.
Well, I don't think I should speak after all that nonsense.
No, yeah, I'm not sure you should speak either. But fuck it, I'm willing to take a risk. Go.
I really, really liked it. I wore it today, and it was just fresh and clean, and there's enough sort of natural feelings in the florals, and then it's this beautiful, lovely powdery base. I don't think it's Pour Homme at all. I think it's for everybody. I'd totally wear it. It feels aquatic and clean and light, but there's quite a lot of silage or sillage to it. So although it might not be a beast mode, it sticks around and creates a lovely bubble of just good, clean, light, bright spring fun around you. It's nice.
Fair. James?
I love it, for a start.
Nice.
I mean, yes, it's... I'm surprised you like it, Dan, because you're not a pink pepper fan, are you?
To me, I don't even know what the notes are, but to me, it's a sort of gingery tea thing.
It's tea, okay, very much a tea fragrance, but it's definitely, I mean, loaded with pink pepper. It's kind of like, do you know what it weirdly? When I first smelled Spice Bomb, when Spice Bomb first came out, I was like, oh, okay, there's a weird, this is like taking one element of, remove all the tea and the main kind of ghostly weirdness of Pour Homme 2 and just take the hot spice element of that and turn it up to fucking 11, and it's very similar to that. And that is it. It's essentially like the pink pepper. It's kind of a sweet, piquant, is that a word? That's a word.
Piquant.
Yeah, piquant. It's that like element of it. But what I love about the Pour Homme is it's so much more toned down, and it has that, but it also has this kind of ghostly violet tea.
The violet in it is just beautiful.
Yeah, I mean,
really
we're talking about originality, and we're talking about reasonably simplistic things to get on board with. It's got enough complexity to make you go, yes, yes, yes. But it's also not dissimilar in terms of like its simplicity to something like a Silver Mountain Water. Now, they both share a tea, right? And you could say it's a totally polar opposite tea vibe. This is lightly smoky, almost like it's almost like you can't quite, like, I don't want to say ethereal because that's kind of a twatty word, but it's ethereal. Right?
But I think it is though. Yeah. It's exactly that. It's got such a airiness to it, and it's a dewy airiness, like a watery. It's like spring morning when all the dew hasn't quite burnt off the lawn yet. It has that lovely bright texture to it, and it just floats off you. Just
I really love it. I think it's an amazing perfume. And also, if anyone breaks into your house at night, you could fuck them up.
Whack them with that.
Fuck them up with that bottle. It's like got yeah.
I've got the 50 ml, but I've got the matching 50 ml of the Pour Homme 1. I could with one in each hand, I could like attack someone and like box their ears a bit or something with it. It's like some serious fucking perfumery. I think it's absolutely beautiful. For me, it's quite and I guess maybe I use this word a lot with tea perfumes, but it's quite a meditative sort of tea. Yeah. It feels very zen. I wear that, and it's got this kind of calming sort of like, wow, isn't this all great? I can just like chill the fuck out type perfume. I think it's a really underrated one because it's always Pour Homme 1 that gets all the fucking love from that lineup. And I can't see any connection, by the way, between those two perfumes other than they come in the same sort of bottle.
It's not that underrated. It's about 250 quid a bottle on eBay.
Is it? Okay, well,
yeah, I mean, it's rare, so because it's discontinued, isn't it?
But people don't talk about it in the same sort of, reverential terms that they do about the first.
What is weird about it is that it wasn't discontinued for a long, long time, even when Gucci revamped their whole line. And this bared no resemblance to the new perfumes that were out. Gucci Pour Homme 1 was long gone, right? This fucking thing was still in production. And it was like, why? I mean, they've only just discontinued it now, surely. Like, it's not.
I don't know.
But surely the Gucci Pour Homme was discontinued because Michel Almerac fucked off with the. I don't know. I thought there was an issue and he took the formula or something.
Not that I know of. I thought Gucci owned the formula.
Did they know?
Yeah, he did little tweaks and variations of it, because that's the joke of it. Is that, I mean, I don't know how. In fact, this is something that Christophe Laudemiel talks about, that there is no protection. So companies, those big companies, don't have protection over their own perfumer that they've hired to do something, they can do the tiniest little tweak to it and go to another company and make it, and tough. Do you know what I mean? Because that's just it's the wild fucking West. So
Christian Provenzano made an entire career out of doing exactly that. Just like making one perfume for one house and then going fucking next door and selling it exactly the same formula with, you know, this thing, minor amendment. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So I'm conscious we've got quite a lot to get through, and it's also cracking on. So let's kind of push on. Ratings then for GPH2. Personally, solid 4 stars from me. James?
4.
Yeah. Ben?
Yeah, 4. I don't.
Have you talked about? You haven't talked about this.
No,
one
but
yet,
you kind of covered what I feel about it. The violet leaf is like the violet and tea is really like a great combination, and I think it's that as well that makes it feel. Because when you said a bit zen, I was like, yeah, I get that, and I think it is that sort of the sweet, sort of effervescent kind of violent violet with.
It's very calming, isn't it? Yeah, if you want, I
don't get the oily and screechy.
If anybody wants a cheap alternative and it's good, and it came out it might come out in the same year, so it's not really a clone. I don't know whether they were aware of it, or it might be by the same fucking perfumer for all I know. No idea. Henne Mori Him.
Here.
Has anyone got that?
Yeah,
you got that?
I know. I've had it, and it's you're right. It's a really good. A really good surrogate. It's about 10 fucking quid still, I think, on eBay.
Is it? I won't have to look at that.
It's really good. Funnily enough, a brand, some sort of startup-y brand, sent me a bottle of perfume sometime last year to review, and I was like, oh, this is a Gucci Pour Homme 2 clone, and so I said. It's very nice. It's a clone of Gucci Pour Homme 2, and then like, no, we've never tried that. This was created by us, our in-house perfumer. I was like, really? Yes, this is his first perfume. No one's ever heard of him, kind of thing. It's like, nah. This is just a clone of Gucci Pour Homme 2 that you've clearly bought off the fucking shelf, and you're trying to fucking gamble that people haven't smelt it before. It's very nice, but it's Gucci Pour Homme 2.
Or their in-house perfumer
I can't remember what that brand
is aware of Gucci Pour Homme 2 and has a formula that you can easily get from somewhere.
Maybe. More likely they've just bought it, some sort of like oil off somewhere and
probably
rinsed it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so for Fliss, how many for you?
Oh, 4.5.
4.5. Wowza.
Yeah, I really like it. If it wasn't £200, I would so be buying some.
We'll get the Hanamore one. It's cheap as fucking chips. It's very nice. Okay, cool. Well, if we just want to do one more Fliss, why don't you choose one more, and then we can save the rest for a second episode, because there's enough of them, isn't there?
Yeah. Can we do L'Artisan Parfumeur Jour de Fête?
Yeah,
just because it's a lovely girls one. We've done a lot of boys ones.
Jour de Fête.
Jour de Fête.
Game.
Day of the party. Day of the fete. Day of the
I'll
celebration.
Have to go and get that, because it's funny you should say, because I don't actually own it, but Jenny does. So I'll go and get it.
Ooh.
You steal that from her. Give it to me.
I bought it. I bought it, obviously, but you know,
naturally,
I'm claiming it back.
Who, Ben? Did you send this?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's not my jam at all. What does old?
They've all run off. Look, they've all gone off to go and get their bottles.
What does old Luca Turin? Nice bottle. What does Luca say about it?
2 stars, and then he's made a joke and called it Play Doh.
Play Doh.
As opposed to Play-Doh.
Oh, right.
I have a hard time seeing the point of this kindergarten accord of vanilla and heliotrope in a sort of perfumery with no other virtue than bland, sweet pleasantness. Nice on a baby, I guess.
I think he's nailed that. I think he's absolutely nailed that. I mean, it smells. It smells like sort of vanilla Play-Doh to me. It's there is something distinctly toddler-like about it. A very juvenile perfume. It smells pleasant enough. Ben, you look like you're going to punch me in the fucking face. So why don't you tell us what you think of it, Ben?
It smells like mini
perfume.
eggs. It smells like Cadbury's
mini eggs.
Yeah. It smells like Cadbury's mini eggs with that kind of sugary almond kind of thing. I love it. I fucking love it. It's I kind of agree with the review, sort of, but I don't care. It's really happy perfume, and it doesn't last 5 minutes. I frequently wear it and in bed. I get into bed, spray it because I know it'll be gone by the time I'm asleep anyway, and it's just a lovely, comforting fragrance that smells like sugary almonds, bits of sweet. It's just a cracker.
And I think
it's bizarre. It's quite bizarre.
It's not. The almond actually is quite sharp sometimes. I mean, I wore it a couple of times, and sometimes it's more heliotrope. And today on me, it was really quite tart. It almost felt like the kernel of the almond as opposed to the sugared almond. And I remember it coming out and it being like a really proper gourmand perfume before all of the slew of gourmand perfumes that we have out now. But at the same time, it's not overly sweet or cloying like some of the tooth-rotting things that come out and everybody goes nuts for now. And it doesn't last very long, but it does warm up with your skin. And I just think it's maybe not groundbreaking these days, but it's not shit. It's just lovely.
It's lovely. It's not shit at all.
Yeah.
It's very nice, juvenile, Play-Doh-y, sweet thing. It's okay. I mean, it's to me it feels like disposable and a bit trite, and I would never wear it, and I think Luca Turin is fucking bang on this one. Is it Luca or is it Tania? Tania.
It was a Luca Turin, I think.
It's Luca.
Okay. Jams.
I don't think it's juvenile at all. I think it's very mature, because it could so easily be a ridiculously sweet, or it could have that like benzaldehyde, like it goes into like a cherry fucking bakewell or something. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't do that. It's got so much like restraint. It's almost like there's almost like a tension with like the sweetness and a kind of je ne sais quoi. I don't know what it is. It's something weird, just holding it back from being like, and it's kind of almost, that's what makes it a perfume, right? It's not just some gourmand smell, right? Yes, it's kind of vanilla-y. Yes, it's that almond, like heliotrope kind of thing. But there is something, just like I say, a bit of tension, just holding it back and just making it. And that could be unpleasant to some people because they want sugary, they want ridiculous, like sugary almond smell, ridiculous cherry fucking. I've got this horrible, I'm glad it's nearly finished now, this horrible like cherry hand wash that I got at Christmas, and it's just brutal. And it doesn't have that to it. And I love that about it. I love that it's like, it's quite sort of delicate and like mature. Like I say, I think it's really good, and I think he doesn't understand it. And that's fine.
The glassiness is great, like the textural kind of like the glassy sugar element to it is great. It's not it's not cloyy, vanilla-y kind of thing at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, I like the fact that it does feel quite airy and playful, and it feels pink, but without it being like a sugary bubblegum pink. It feels like the gossamer pink of like those colours of ballet wraps or something, but like in the 40s and the 50s. It's not that bright, horrible, sugared pink of a jellied sweet. There is like you say, James, there's something deeply French about it. There's something deeply classy and
So it's actually based on like a French sweet, isn't it?
Well, it's based on Jordan almonds.
Sugared almonds.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that pastel pink that you're talking about, which is actually the colour on the box, isn't it? Well, on the label, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, that is one of those sugared almonds. But again, it's not even as sweet as that. It's a perfume. It's a perfume. It sounds like a ridiculous thing to say, but it could so easily be, and that's where gourmands make their mistake these days.
Is that your review? It's a perfume.
It's a perfume. 4 stars. Fuck you, Turin. No, the thing is with modern gourmands, they are just like, let's smell like some kind of food and push the fact that it's a perfume to the back of the fucking thing. Do you know what I mean? Whereas this is inherently French and perfume first. It's a gourmand based on a sweet after, you know. I think it's brilliant. I gave it to Jenny because I thought like she would get more kind of use out of it and stuff. And
well, she clearly hasn't, because that's an OG top on that. It's not even one of the octagonal ones.
Style,
it's the old.
Yeah.
It's been worn a few
style.
times.
Still in the box.
Well,
It's the same as Ben's.
I don't know. Did they? Is it still around? Can you get them with octagonal lids, or did they?
No, it's still one of those ones that you have to buy on the old Vinted or eBay.
It's a good one, though. It's a good one.
I remember it coming out, and I had a 50ml bottle, and I remember using it up. I'm not going to give it high stars, because if I would have bought another one, and I didn't. So maybe 3.75. But, you know, I enjoyed it and I remember it, but there must have been a reason I haven't bought another one, you know?
I'd give it a 3.
Me too. I was going to say 3 as well, despite the fact that I actually really like it and all the rest of it. I'd 3. So Dan, do you even give it 2 stars? Because didn't he get? This is a 2-star.
I'm fine with 2 stars. I mean, it's not offensive.
And it's not a scrubber.
No. I mean,
I'm almost. Sorry, go on.
Well, it's not a scrubber. It feels kind of. I don't get the sort of depth and complexity and stuff that you guys seem to pick up on. For me, it's just.
I don't find it complex.
It's not your bag, is it?
I think it's the simplicity that's the key to it.
I'm almost okay with the star rating on it, but I don't like the words. If you know what I mean, I give it a 3, but I could possibly give it a 2 as well. You know, if I could, you know, I could be persuaded. But
yeah.
But the words I don't really agree with. I don't really think he's
overly harsh.
Yeah.
Overly harsh. Well, I mean, that is kind of his jam, right?
The point of him.
Okay, right. So look, it's been a bit of a mixed bag. We've agreed somewhat, we've disagreed somewhat. Overall, I'm still not convinced that Luca Turin is entirely fair and reasonable, but God, he's got away with words. I think, given that there's so many more on the list, let's roll them over into another episode. And we'll count them up, and if we don't have quite enough for another episode, we'll pad them out with a few more. I think it's time to sort of bring this ship gently into land. Fliss, final thoughts?
Well, as I said, I've enjoyed this because the first time we ever all met, we were doing the Luca Turin Inquisition-y thingy. Mm-hmm. And so it was nice to have that come back and do it again. And I've also enjoyed the fact that, as always, we just don't agree on everything, which is good.
No, Absolutely.
That's the whole fucking point, isn't it?
That is the old fucking point. Good. Okay, Ben. Your whole fucking point.
I think that actually I was quite surprised with at least the ones we've covered so far today, how closely I aligned with Luca Turin and Tania Sanchez compared to the last episode, where I'm pretty sure I was not really in agreement. And there's a lot of these that I don't agree with, but at least the ones we've covered today, I don't think there's been any that I've sort of really felt like, getting on a soapbox about and being like, you're wrong. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of like...
We should do cabochard next time.
I was very angry about Moss Birches, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I can see you guys with that one. See, that one didn't do quite for me what it does for you guys. So yeah, I'm kind of, a lot of them, I'm a bit sort of like, well, yeah, that's a bit harsh, but whatever. I'm sure next episode, there'll be some that say, I know there are definitely a few that I disagree with, but these ones at least, I was quite surprised how sort of, I wouldn't say an alignment, but not a million miles away.
Cool.
I think the key thing here is that we all kind of agree, and this is probably why I've never put star ratings or like 1 to 10 or percentage on any of my things, because it is reductive and you don't know. One person's like 3 or 2, or even the same person's, the consistency between them is so difficult, and especially when you've only got a scale of 5. Like, I've just defended something like that and then given it a 3-star instead of a 2-star, and it's like, fucking hell, dude, do you know what I mean? Like, is that really that big of a difference? Well, this is why I don't use those things. And I think even his just some of the decisions that he's made to give a 2-star gets our back up, or makes you go, oh no, that's not right, when in actual fact, when you read the review, he actually says, okay, this is a well-made perfume, or he'll say something that's vaguely sort of nice about it, or could throw it into maybe being more. I think it would be interesting to look at ones that he does like, and ones that he's given maybe higher ratings that we could agree with, or do massively disagree with his 5-star ones. I don't know, we have to kind of dig more into this, not to get too obsessed with Luca Turin and Tania Sanchez, do you know what I mean? Because I think the 4 of us give a better overview of a fragrance to the average like punter than reading his reviews. And I'm not saying that just to be like bigging us up and be horrible about him, but there's more there's more sort of nuance, and there's more kind of like opinions and things, and I think you probably get a better idea of things than you do with one of their reviews from listening to us.
Well,
but what it does do though is it gives us a good structure to rant, because we're either ranting in agreement or against it. So there's a structure. It gives us a place to be.
It is fun.
I think
it is fun. Yeah.
Indeed. It is fun. We, of course, have the luxury of rambling on for hours and hours, whereas Luca Turin has to nail like 4,000 fucking perfumes in one sort of pithy book. So, he is constrained a little by his medium. We are obviously able to use as many fucking words as we like, and indeed use them we do. Right.
I mean, if you really want to refine the focus group down, just listen to the Arbiter. Forget Turin, forget this lot, and just go straight to the source. Do you know what I'm saying?
Go directly to James. Do not pass go. Collect your opinion on the way out. Excellent. Right. As always, it's been stupendous. We've been Les Oderants. We will be back in 2 weeks' time, where we will be unfucking yet more perfume. Can't think of anything else to say other than bye.
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 Bye.